Hello, and welcome to my channel. And I should say good morning, because that's how I always start off my videos. Today I thought I'd talk about 6 anxious thoughts that we all share, especially now with this pandemic going on. I'm sure all of us think that we're living in the middle of a TV show or a movie or a book that we've read that it's so surreal and it's just not possible. It could be happening, and then we're all thinking that it'll be done tomorrow. In Michigan here, our stay-at-home has been extended until May 28th. I know people are slowly getting back to work. We're anxious about everything. It's just a scary time. But a lot of times we're going to get really anxious about things, and we're going to turn to food. And I know that people right now, the last thing on their minds is worrying about being on any kind of a diet or losing weight. But when this is all said and done, we don't want to come out of it on the other side being way heavier than we were when it started. So these are just different things that probably lead to turning to food. And I'm not saying that sometimes if that comfort food, soothes your soul, have it, but have it within reason, and don't go crazy going overboard eating stuff, and just find different ways to soothe your feelings other than food. But these are some of the things that we worry about, at least me. I have most of these myself. The first thing we're all scared of is getting sick. None of us want to get sick, and we all know that there's a possibility that it can happen. We have to do our best to stay healthy. It's normal, especially now, it's normal to be fearful of other people. It's fearful to think that you're going to get sick, that someone in your family is going to get sick. But a lot of times we just think that things are beyond our control. And we have to realize that not everything is out of our control. There is a lot out of our control. I completely agree with that statement, that there is a lot out of our control. But some of the things that we can do to kind of keep ourselves healthy, to kind of keep ourselves from getting sick, is, well, the first thing, which they highly recommend, not everybody practices, but is to wear a mask. Now, you're not necessarily wearing a mask to protect yourself as much as you're doing it to protect other people. And that's just what should be your main goal in life, is to protecting other people. If you're protecting other people, then they're going to in turn protect you. They're saying that although the healthcare workers and a lot of the essential workers are getting sick, in Michigan they reported yesterday that the people that work in these fields aren't getting as sick as the general population. And they feel that the main reason for that is that they have the protective gear that they're wearing. Granted, they probably need better protective gear than they're able to get access to right now because of supply and demand. That just stands to reason that the supply and demand makes the difference. But they're wearing masks, they're wearing gloves, they're wearing gowns. Not that we're going to wear gowns out in public, but we can wear a mask. We definitely can wear a mask, and just do it to protect everybody else, if not just yourself. Have a nourishing meal. If you make a good balanced meal with all of the right vitamins and minerals, and you take a little bit from the fruit and a little bit of the vegetables, you have your starches, you have your carbs, balance out your meal. Your body's going to pay you back by staying healthy, because it just stands to reason the healthier you eat, the better your body's going to be able to produce the white cells that are needed to fight off any kind of infection. Also, do some physical activity. A lot of people are just afraid to go out. I walk every morning, close to 2.5 miles every morning. I do come in contact with other people, but I keep my 6-7 feet distance from them. We either walk, in the street away from each other, or, if I don't wear a mask when I'm out walking. But if I haven't been in a store, but if I was to go into a store, I would wear a mask. My husband Jim has gone into stores, and he does wear a mask. So we're trying to keep our physical activity going. Once again, just stick to social distancing. You need to just stay away from other people, at least until this is eradicated, or a vaccine, or they figure out some way to get rid of it. We need to do that. Practice daily mental awareness. Just think of things that you can do that's going to keep your mind sharp. Play games, talk to people, pray, things like that. Always too, which who would have ever thought, our mothers taught this when we were really little, wash your hands. Like sometimes just wash your hands. They say, and you should do it for 2 minutes. They say that you should sing Staying Alive or Happy Birthday. And just that above all, and don't touch your hands, you don't touch your face and your nose and your eyes and things like that, but wash your hands as much as you can. The second thing that causes this anxiety is my brain feels too wired for sleep. I've been very fortunate that my sleep has not been affected. I sleep very well. I am a night owl anyhow. I very rarely get to bed before 2 in the morning, but I wake up about 8:30, 9 o'clock in the morning. So my body really only requires about 6 hours of sleep. But I'm on a pretty regular schedule. I mean, that's a regular schedule for me. Going to bed at 2 and getting up at 8:30, 9 o'clock. That's my regular schedule. Jim's regular schedule is he goes to bed about midnight. I mean, he gets up about 9:30. Jim requires more sleep. But, each body requires their own amount of sleep. Mine doesn't require as much. But try to set a regular schedule. If your regular schedule when you're working, when things were back normal, was to go to bed at 11 o'clock, go to bed at 11 o'clock. If your normal time, which you always got up at, was 6 o'clock, get up at 6 o'clock. Try to stay with a regular sleeping schedule. Also, limit your bed for just the activity that the bed is made for. And sleep and sex. That's really the only two things that really you need your bed for. And you shouldn't be in your bed for like watching TV. Sometimes people read a little bit before they go to sleep, which is fine. But don't associate it with like I'm going to have a snack. I'm going to sit in bed, have a snack, and watch TV, or I'm going to sit in bed and play on my computer, or my laptop, or something like that. Limit the bed for what its really main purpose was. Sometimes if you just take a hot bath, to me, I don't take baths because I feel like I'm wallowing in my own filth. But even like a hot shower or something, I don't take a shower or a bath at night because that wakes me up. But a lot of people, it's very soothing and it helps them, sleep a little bit better. Sometimes, like I said, if you just do a little bit of light reading, don't go in the bed every day to read. Sit in a chair, a comfortable chair to read. But sometimes at night you might just need to do a little bit of light reading just to help you fall asleep, and that's fine. Meditate if you need to do that, or pray. That works a lot of times too. So, that's the second thing. A third thing that we all worry about is we worry about our loved ones, and that's completely normal. And especially if you're a parent, you're going to always worry about your children, no matter what their ages are. My children are in their late 30s and 40s, early 40s, and mid 40s. I got to get Jimmy in there. But I worry about them still. And a lot of times I look at them and I'm thinking, then how can that be? How can you be? My oldest is 47, and I'm thinking, I feel like I'm 47. So it's hard for me to think of my baby as being 47 years old, but and I do worry. But you know what? There's uncertainty in everyday life. Your loved ones could just be in a car accident, in a plane crash. They could get sick from something entirely different than this. That's part of life. And I'm not saying that you shouldn't worry, but you shouldn't be obsessively worrying about them, because it's just not going to help your physical or mental stability either. Number 4 is the news. The news is freaking me out. I, at the beginning, was watching news constantly, all day long. I was watching it, and I was getting anxious, and I kept thinking, today's the day. Today's the day. I'm going to get sick. Today's the day. And then I just realized that I couldn't do that anymore. So now I watch the news at night, which I always watch the news. I watch the evening news with David Muir, and then I watch Anderson Cooper. And that's the only news that I watch during the day. That's enough for me. But I do start my day off reading. In the morning, I read from all different angles because I want to see everybody's perspective. So I read a lot of conservative and liberal news and just right down the middle news. And it probably takes me maybe half an hour, maybe 45 minutes. And then I'm done with it for the day. I just like to be aware of what's going on in the world and that. But if it's going to bother you so much, designate somebody to tell you if something's important that you need to know about. And just don't watch the news. Just like have somebody call you and say, oh yeah, today they're going to do a conference that's going to tell you what they're going to expect from the state this month or whatever. Just do that, but don't be constantly watching if it's freaking you out. Number 5 is you're feeling kind of guilty because you haven't been eating or exercising right. It's easy to fall into poor patterns. It's easy to fall into, like, I'm just going to have whatever I want to eat. What's the point? I'm not going to go out and exercise because I'm afraid I'm going to run into anybody. Or you can't even exercise because the gyms aren't open. There are so many things you can do on your own. There's so many things you can do in your house. If you have a basement, walk around in your basement. I just walk around on my first floor here when I can't get out. Buy some little weights, or if you don't have that, use like milk cartons or something, and just do some exercises. You're just going to feel so much better. And like I said, if you're eating right and exercising right, you're going to sleep right, and you're going to just feel better all the way around. And the last thing is, like, we just feel like I'm not doing enough. I just think I should be doing more. I think if you're following all the guidelines that your state is offering, that should be enough. As long as you're doing like they said, wearing your mask, keeping physically distant from people. If you need to still see your friends or something, I have in my family, we do what we call drive-by visits or sidewalk visits, and my kids come and we just visit from like 6 or 7 feet away and just talk to each other. And it's just what I have to do right now. And it doesn't say that I have to do this for the rest of my life. I might have to do this for a year or two, which is sad to think. But I think that if everybody just followed this plan and everybody just did what they were supposed to do, it would be less than a year. It really would be less than a year. But now people do have to get back to work. People do have to support their families. People have to get food to put in their house, So I completely understand. But once we're going back to work, we're going to be a little bit anxious about that. But I think if we follow all of the guidelines and just really be very super cautious, we should be fine. And, because we can't sit home for a year or two. We just can't. I know we can't. But we can get out as long as we're safe and we're conscious of what we're doing and we're aware of other people and not only thinking of ourselves and start thinking of other people. Because it's not a me situation. It's an us. It's all about us. And you have to stop thinking it's all about me and just think about it's all about us. What's going to work for all of us? So these are 6 anxious thoughts that we all share, all of us. Maybe not every single one of them, but I'm betting that everybody has at least one of these 6 that they've felt in the last 8 or 9 weeks. Just think of it this way. When it first started, our state closed down on March 12th, and today's May 8th, so it's been almost 2 months. The first couple weeks were really long, really, really long. But looking back, I don't know, the 8 weeks kind of went, not really fast, but faster than I thought they would. But I'm going to work on myself and not have these thoughts myself. So hopefully this helped you. Please let me know different things that you do to solve your anxiety. And I just think that we'll get through this. So I always say, stay safe, stay healthy, stay home. Unfortunately, now we have to start getting out. But when we're out, stay safe. That's the best thing we can do is stay safe. Stay safe. I stuttered over my words.